The IRS lets you pull money from your retirement accounts penalty-free starting at age 59 and a half. Now, you probably already knew that, but here's what nobody tells you. There is a narrow window of tax strategies, Roth conversions, in-service rollovers, Social Security coordination, that if you execute them between age 59 and a half and age 70, could keep six figures in your pocket instead of the government's. Now, here's the problem for most retirees. They hear penalty-free access and they file it away as a future benefit. Cool. Yeah, something I'll think about later. Meanwhile, the window to actually act on this, to position your accounts, to run conversions, to build an income structure before you actually need it, is quietly closing in the background. And honestly, most financial advisors skip this because they're trained to grow your money, but not distribute it efficiently. Now, the accumulation phase, where you're investing, has a whole industry built around it, but the distribution phase, you're largely on your own. So I want to walk you through 5 specific actions you can take between age 59 and a half and 70 that most people either don't know about or they keep putting off before it's too late. And stick around to the end of the video. Move number 5 is one almost everyone skips, and it might be the most valuable one of all. Hi, I'm Jacob Wade. I'm a financial coach and former enrolled agent with a passion for investing, retirement, taxes, and financial independence. I'm with WallStreetZen, where our quant team analyzes thousands of data points across 4,600 stocks every single day. And if this is the type of content you want to see more of, please hit the like button below. It tells me, yeah, make more of this. Now, here's what you probably already know about turning age 59 and a half. The 10% early withdrawal penalty for taking money out of your retirement accounts early goes away once you turn age 59 and a half, which means you could access your IRA or your 401k account without the tax hit and penalty for the first time. This essentially allows you to turn on the retirement withdrawal faucet without upsetting the IRS. But that's not the most important shift that happens at age 59 and a half. You see, the thing is, the 10% penalty acts as sort of a stop sign for investors, preventing you from raiding your retirement accounts too early. But the real issue is what happens when the stop sign disappears and there's no coordinated plan to replace the discipline that it was enforcing in the first place. So your tax-deferred accounts, like a traditional IRA, 401k, they keep compounding toward what's called a required minimum distribution, and that starts at age 73. That means you're going to have to pull money out and you'll be taxed on it. Future tax brackets go unmanaged during the one window when you have the most control over them to prevent this. And honestly, Social Security decisions just get made reactively instead of strategically, which can have a massive cost. Now, here's the shift that actually matters at this age. Stop thinking about your retirement accounts as growth vehicles, which you've been doing your whole career, but start treating them as income machines. Now, that transition from accumulation to distribution is where most investors fall behind. And this doesn't mean you've made bad investments, but maybe you haven't thought about restructuring for the phase you're actually about to enter. Now, honestly, traditional financial advisors are largely trained for the accumulation side, but coordinating withdrawals, managing tax brackets across 10 to 15-year distribution runway, and timing income across multiple account types, that's a whole different discipline. And honestly, most investors never get to that conversation. And that gap is where real money gets lost. So if you're approaching this transition and you want coordinated advice across retirement income, taxes, Roth conversions, estate planning, all in one place, a platform that I like is called Range. Now, WallStreetZen reviewed them, and the link is in the description below. But essentially, it's a flat fee service backed by certified financial planners and AI-powered planning tools. And that flat fee means you pay for the service itself, not for the size of your portfolio. Now, Range is built for high earners with complex financial lives, which is exactly the profile of someone who needs these next 5 moves I'm about to share with you executed correctly. So again, you can check out Range. The link is in the description below. All right, move number 1 is to take control of your 401k before you leave it. Now, most people assume 401k rollovers are something you do on your way out the door, but that's simply not true. Many 401k plans allow you to move existing assets into an IRA, an individual retirement account, while you're still employed and still contributing with them. And this usually starts the moment you hit age 59 and a half. This is known as a in-service rollover. And while new contributions we're going to keep going into 401k, you can roll over the existing balances into a traditional IRA or Roth if you have a Roth 401k, and have way more control over your investments. And the practical difference is significant. Employer plans like your 401k typically offer constrained fund menu, often weighted toward actively managed options with expense ratios that quietly compound against you over time, unfortunately. Now, an IRA opens up the full investment universe: individual stocks, ETFs, income oriented strategies, dividend focused positions, whatever your distribution plan actually calls for. But the deeper reason to this isn't necessarily about the investment choice, it's about readiness. Most people think they have time to reposition their portfolio when retirement arrives, and some will, but others will face a layoff or a health event or a business change that moves the timeline of your retirement without asking you first. The in-service rollover lets you build the income structure your retirement needs now while you still have earned income coming in. You're not waiting for a transition to start preparing for it. You want to be proactive, not reactive here. So once you're 59 and a half, moving your assets out of that 401k into an IRA gives you more control. Now, I will say there's one caveat that I need to state clearly here. Not every employer permits in-service rollovers, even at age 59 and a half. So check your plan documents before just assuming it's available. But if it is, this is one of the most underused levers starting at age 59 and a half. All right, move number 2 is doing what are called Roth conversions. Now, Roth conversions are one of the most discussed strategies in retirement planning and also one of the most inconsistently executed. Here's the specific mechanic that actually changes at 59 and a half and why it matters more than most people realize. Now, the standard guidance on Roth conversions is to never fund the tax bill from the conversion amount itself. Pay your taxes from a separate account, like a brokerage or a savings account, and keep the full converted balance inside the Roth itself. Let it compound tax-free. And sure, that remains the most mathematically efficient approach when you have the cash available to do it. Now, the problem with this strategy is that most people approaching age 59 and a half don't have a dedicated tax reserve fund just sitting around in a taxable account. They have retirement accounts. And before age 59 and a half, withholding taxes directly from a Roth conversion actually triggers that 10% penalty on that withheld amount, which unfortunately changes the math and actually makes the conversion a whole lot less attractive. But once you hit age 59 and a half, that penalty is now gone. So withholding from the conversion amount is no longer penalized. It's just slightly less efficient than paying from some type of outside account. So if you want to just keep compounding going in your retirement accounts, as soon as you hit 59 and a half, you could start that Roth conversion strategy and not worry about having a separate way to fund those taxes. You just withhold right from the conversion amount. Now, again, that's not the most efficient way to let your Roth grow, and it's a trade-off most people can live with. Plus, it removes the single biggest logistical barrier that stops conversions from happening at all. And the reason this is important is Roth conversions executed consistently between age 59 and a half and age 73 are one of the most effective tools for reducing future required minimum distributions and managing IRMA exposure on Medicare premiums, which can affect your Medicare premiums. So if you do this well over the next decade, the downstream tax savings can be substantial. So again, between 59 and a half and 73, that window is open. And even if you're doing it imperfectly, it's far better than not using it at all. Now, before we get on to the next couple of moves, if you like what I'm putting out here, please hit the subscribe button below. It's the best way to make sure you know when I post more videos like this. Now, speaking of conversions, there's also a before and after 59 and a half for Roth IRA owners that you need to know about. Once you're past age 59 and a half and your first Roth IRA contribution is at least 5 years old, this is known as the 5-year rule. Both the contributions and the earnings come out completely tax-free and penalty-free. There's no conditions, no income calculations, no bracket exposure. That combination right there, age plus the 5-year clock, is what unlocks the full power of Roth accounts. Now, the practical applications are more targeted than most people know about with this strategy. If you retire before age 65, you're in a gap year window for health insurance, right? You're too young for Medicare and you're no longer covered by an employer plan. Now, ACA premium subsidies are income-based. So Roth distributions, instead of taking it out of a taxable account, can keep your reported income low enough to qualify for meaningful premium assistance on your healthcare. For some households, that could be worth thousands per year in savings during that 2 to 5 year bridge period between now and age 65. And IRMA is a related problem that hits later. Medicare Part B and Part D premiums are tiered based on income from the 2 years prior. A large IRA distribution or a Roth conversion in the wrong year can actually push a couple into a higher surcharge tier without any planning benefit to show for it. So Roth withdrawals sidestep that entirely because they don't register as taxable income. And in down market years, when you're selling appreciated assets that would trigger a large taxable event at exactly the wrong time, A Roth balance sitting there gives you a clean source of liquidity that doesn't compound the damage. So this account doesn't just grow tax-free. Between age 59 and a half and 70, it's a precision tool for managing every income-sensitive threshold in the tax code. All right, move number 4, we're going to talk about Social Security. And honestly, Social Security is a decision you are already making whether you know it or not. Now, most people at age 59 and a half put Social Security in a mental folder labeled, figure this out later, right? That's understandable. It feels far enough away to ignore for now. But the decision you make about your retirement accounts between now and 70 are actively shaping your Social Security outcome, whether you're paying attention to it or not. Now, here's something you might not know. Every year you defer Social Security past your full retirement age, your benefit grows by roughly 8%. Now, that growth stops at age 70. So the question isn't really whether to defer. For most people with reasonable health and life expectancy, the math on waiting is actually probably worth it. The question is, how do you fund the gap between when you stop working and when you claim Social Security? Now, that funding structure there is called an income bridge. And how you build it has tax consequences well beyond Social Security itself. So if you're drawing down a traditional IRA to cover living expenses during the deferral window, those withdrawals are taxable income. So that affects your tax bracket, your IRMA exposure, and potentially the taxability of your Social Security itself once it starts. Up to 85% of your benefit can be taxable depending on your combined income. Now, running Roth conversions during this same window while your income is lower and before those RMDs begin can reduce the future balance that will eventually be forced out as taxable distributions. Capital gains harvesting at 0% is also available in lower income years if the portfolio is managed with that threshold in mind. So again, there's a lot of really detailed strategic strategies you can do now that can keep your tax burden very, very low. And none of these are separate decisions. The claiming age of Social Security, for example, connects to the bridge structure, which connects to the conversion strategy, which connects to the RMD picture at age 73. Pulling one lever moves all the others. And so figuring out the pieces of your income phase of retirement is vitally important. And while we're talking about aligning your portfolio for the income phase itself, if part of your strategy involves dividend-paying stocks as an income layer, WallStreetZen's pre-built screener for the highest dividend yield stocks is a practical starting point. Again, you can click the link below or just go to WallStreetZen.com and you can use this screener to find the best dividend-paying stocks, and then you can filter them by what we call Zen ratings to narrow the highest quality names, not just the highest yield, which can sometimes be a warning sign on its own. So don't go for the 10% yield. It might not be a great idea. So if you just scan the QR code right here, you can go check out the screener that will show you the highest dividend paying stocks. All right, and move number 5 here, I'm going to call it the retirement sandbox. It's really the only move that tests the plan that we're talking about against reality. Now, every projection model your advisor runs, every withdrawal rate calculator you've used, every spreadsheet you've built, it's all based on assumptions about how you'll actually live in retirement, what you'll spend, where you'll spend it, how you'll actually fill the time, and what you decide matters when a paycheck stops arriving. So at age 59 and a half, for the first time, you can actually test those assumptions with real money and real conditions, penalty free. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say you take an IRA or 401k distribution that can fund a sort of like a trial run of retirement. It could be a sabbatical or an extended trip or a stretch of part-time work that simulates a reduced income retirement. Or maybe a 3-month period where you live entirely on a retirement level budget and track every dollar along the way, even if you're still earning some income during that period. But honestly, just taking some time off during this period after age 59 and a half is a solid retirement testing strategy with low risk. Data shows that Americans leave an estimated $54 billion in unused vacation pay on the table every single year. So if you're sitting on accumulated time off, pairing it with a penalty-free IRA withdrawal isn't just a vacation, it's a funded experiment. And the data that comes back from this experiment is worth more than any projection. You'll actually find out what you actually spend when you're not in a work routine. Not what you estimated you spend, not what the spreadsheet says, but what you're actually spending. You'll discover which expenses were work-driven and disappear in retirement, and which ones you didn't account for at all. You'll learn whether the lifestyle you've been planning toward is one that you actually want to do, which is very important. And the last one matters the most people expect. A significant number of people who retire find that the reality doesn't match the plan, not financially, but structurally. The loss of a routine, purpose, and social contact hits differently than a spreadsheet can suggest. You can't really model this. Now, a test run, though, before you actually retire can bring these problems to light, while you still have the option to adjust your plan. This is the one move on the list that doesn't require a financial advisor or a tax professional. It just requires actually doing it and then maybe taking some notes along the way about how it goes. Now, before I get to how to put all of these 5 moves into an actionable sequence itself, I did want to share a free report we created featuring 3 stocks that our Zen rating system has flagged for serious upside potential. You can click the QR code on screen here or click the link down below. Now, Zen Ratings has a 20+ year track record of market-beating returns for A and B rated stocks. So if you're interested, link is in the description below again, or you can just scan the QR code that's sitting on the screen right here to get it for free. All right, now here's how these 5 moves connect into an action sequence you can actually employ. First, check with your employer. Check the plan documents that you have for your 401k. Does it allow those in-service rollovers starting at age 59 and a half? And verify where you stand on the Roth 5-year clock, meaning have you started contributing to a Roth IRA account and has that 5-year clock started? Then model what Roth conversions look like given your current income and projected tax brackets. Now, these aren't decisions to make it 59 and a half. These are decisions you need to start making now before you get there. Then you can map your income timeline from now through age 75. Which accounts are going to get tapped in which order? When does Social Security enter the picture? And where do the conversions fit into that overall sequence? What covers health insurance before Medicare at 65, right? We talked about that gap there. Again, I'll mention Range as a service that can help give the exact answers to all of these types of questions and more if you're not confident in doing this yourself. Again, the link to Range is going to be in the description below if you're interested. And then finally, you need to evaluate your current positioning honestly. Be honest with yourself. Are your accounts still structured for growth when the priority should be shifting toward something like income stability and tax efficiency? Are your tax-deferred balances, 401ks, IRAs, on a trajectory toward RMDs? And are they way too big that they're going to be much higher than you need at age 73? If yes to either of those, honestly, this is the decade to fix this problem. Not reactively at 73 when the IRS forces that issue. So build the plan, execute it, and revisit it annually. Tax laws change, balances shift, but the plan should move with them. And again, engage professionals here. Find a CPA or enrolled agent that can handle the tax side, and then maybe use a service like Range with certified financial planners that can help you put all the pieces of the puzzle together in the most efficient way. And drop your biggest 59 and a half questions in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious how you're approaching this phase of life. And if you haven't already, click on the screen right now to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this and some timely stock picks as well. And if you liked this video, be sure to check out my video right here, breaking down the ideal age to retire backed by data, and it's probably not what you think. So check it out right here.